Hi, media, race, and gender. As you can see, I'm still in hospital here, but that's okay. Actually recording this on Wednesday, but based on how things have been going and what I know now of hospitals, I'm not projecting they'll release me until the absolute earliest tomorrow, but probably they're just doing a little bit of a medicine switch till Friday or Saturday. So that would mean I wouldn't be there for you, and so I thought I'd go ahead and record this now. So I hope you had a good first day. I hope you enjoyed that activity. It's always important to think of it. You know, we have these pre-existing understandings of what the media is. By the way, media is a plural term that represents mediums. So we hear mediums and we do hear media, and actually they're the same. So feel free to be the pretentious jerk that corrects anybody that says a medium. Enjoy that. But so, same idea though. We talk about gender, we talk about race, we talk about class, or we don't talk about class. And as I said, it's not even in the title. And so it helps very early on to think about, why don't we talk about class? We're quick to say, well, there's class systems in India and these foreign countries, and then we're like, no, there's no classes here. But yeah, of course we have class systems here in America as well. We typically talk about gender as if everybody is on the same page, but many people that talk about gender are talking about, male or female. And many other people would say, no, that's something completely different. Some people talk about gender in terms of gay or straight. And other people say, no, that's, again, completely different. So what are we talking about when we talk about in terms of gender? And if those things aren't gender, what are they? And are they separate? Are they together? Same thing with race. What is race? You say, okay, black and white. Well, what if somebody is a mixed race then? Well, is that a completely different race, or are they just components of something else? So those bring up questions of, well, why are we talking about in terms of skin color? And people say, okay, well, that's how we get things like African American. But then African American sort of separates a regular American versus some other type of American, and certainly somebody with what we would say black skin tone might say, my family history is from the Caribbean, not Africa. Why would you call me an African American? And that complicates things further. And then, of course, Africa is a continent. We're not talking about one little tiny place. So why is all of Africa one thing? Why is all the Caribbean one thing? And ultimately, people sort of say, is there race at all? When we talk about race, do we talk about nationality? Is that what we're talking about? Is there race? So these are the questions that hopefully you started to get at, and we're going to continue to get at as we move along throughout the semester. And mainly we're going to be focusing on the way in which the media represents those things and tries to shape those things, and how those things try to shape the media as well. So that's what we're going to be focusing on. Just a reminder for you as we go into the first set of readings that's coming up. The first set of readings are for Wednesday, the introduction to Unit 1, Unit 1 being, as I flip through my book here, the acknowledgments, but a cultural studies approach to media. Cultural studies is one branch of study. It is not exclusive, of course, to the communication discipline. Cultural studies is, in fact, its own sort of branch of study. Has its own history. Histories, actually. There's lots of different types of cultural studies: British cultural studies, American cultural studies, Australian cultural studies, Canadian cultural studies, and many, many more that have important differences and histories. And if we had a different course, we could focus on that. I know Professor Dries is interested in that as well. It would be nice to be able to maybe team teach a class like that someday, bit in the future. But for now, understand that cultural studies is a way of seeing that is used frequently in communication studies of the media, but appears in other areas, as sociology, English, in various different disciplines. So part one attempts to sort of explain what a cultural studies approach to media is, as well as anybody could possibly do in 4 pages, as well as introduce the upcoming chapters in that unit. The first chapter, Cultural Studies, Multiculturalism, and Media Criticism, is written by Douglas Kellner, who's a very approachable scholar, very, very famous, well-known scholar. So that should be a nice, simple introduction for you. So make certain you read those for Wednesday. For today, what we're going to be doing is taking a little bit of what we did on Wednesday after we went over the syllabus, and we're going to be twisting it just a little bit to see, put it in a context. So we're going to watch a television show right now, and after the television show with the remainder of class, I want you to talk about how is race depicted, how is gender depicted, how is class depicted by this particular mediated program, it's a television show, and think about how it's not depicted as well. What's left out? What's assumed to just be normal? That's one of the hardest things we're going to have to focus on this semester. Is time in and time again, things will just assume to be normal, and that's the way things are, and that's really what we're looking for. What's assumed to be normal in these behaviors, both what's in there and what's not. So without any further ado, I hope you enjoy what is certainly a very current cultural phenomenon. Here comes Honey Boo Boo, child.